Hello everybody, Jim here doing something ill-advised. I am flying the Anvil Arrow while I record a video. This never seems to work out well, so I don't do it often, but I have no choice. I had to spend some quality time with the family this weekend, so I needed to get my sleep so I could be awake for them. Usually when I record videos, it's like 1 a.m. when I start, because that's the only time I can be guaranteed I won't be interrupted during a recording and I can really get some work done. This weekend, for my wife's birthday, I bought her tickets to go see A Christmas Carol at an honest-to-God decent playhouse, and we went and saw that. I actually enjoyed it very much. It was a pretty good show. It was not quite what I had hoped because, frankly, the definitive version of A Christmas Carol is A Muppet Christmas Carol, and Ebenezer Scrooge was not of the same caliber as my Muppet movie. But that's not really fair because Michael Caine is kind of freaking awesome. But anyway, so yeah, I did that instead of making a video, and I'm very sorry. So what you get is this instead. And if you guys like this, if this is okay with you, me, shooting the breeze while I shoot at ships, if you like this is something I can do on those rare occasions when I cannot do anything else, so we can still get a video out. So if you like this, let me know. If you hate it, let me know. But for now, we need to get on with the video. Now, the real reason we're here is this Anvil Arrow, because I didn't want to let it get too old and ignore it for too long. I think this ship deserves its own video and does not need to be lumped in with other fighters when I do like a multi-fighter without the numbers video. Because I like this arrow quite a bit, and I'm about to explain why through the Q&A while I fly the ship. Let's get started. What gives the arrow the designation Stealth on the stats page? I love this question because you know what they say? You know what the answer is? We screwed up. And I love it when they admit that they screw up. It's so real and human and decent and good. Guys, you should admit that you've screwed up more often. Really, because I appreciate that to no end. You have no idea how good that makes me feel when you say, we screwed up. And I'm like, all is forgiven. Thank you for being honest. You're humans and you make mistakes. I think a lot of other people feel that way too. Question number 2. The commercial states that this ship is one of the fastest and most agile in its class, but it isn't. Why? And in a stunning display of honesty, they say that was also a mistake. It's a bug. And I'm going to demonstrate that right now. Actually, I've been suffering from it. So watch the acceleration on this ship. This is with afterburner on. And there we got to 100. There's a bug right now that you can fix by raising the landing gear. So I'm going to do the landing gear thing and put that back. Now let's see how long it takes me to get to 100. Ready? And we're there. Less than half the time. Oh man, I'm so glad that they admitted their mistakes. I'm so glad that this actually is an agile ship because that's the reason I like it. It's more agile than a Gladius. It is not quite as fast in a straight line, but that's okay. It's got a better profile. Oh, who's wrecking me? Holy crap, that's got to be the Cutlass. I'm going to get away from that Cutlass. I'm flying towards it! Ah! This is exactly why I don't do videos while I play the game. Maybe you're enjoying my suffering, but I gotta tell you, it is kind of nerve-wracking for me. Where was I? I'm distracted. Yeah, I like that it's a little more agile than Gladius. I never much cared for the Gladius, and I think they've addressed my problems with the Gladius in this ship, which is to say that it's a little more agile, if not as fast in a straight line, and the profile is a little slimmer, and I like that very much. Oh, holy crap, I'm getting killed. Oh my goodness, that Cutlass is wrecking my face. My favorite ship for a long time was the Mustang Delta, which was also, like, it's in a similar class with this, but they've addressed my problems with that as well, because this is a little sturdier, just a little, I think, and it has 3 size 3, which I can use to my advantage, while being agile enough that I can, like, zip around these asteroids and have a good time. So, yeah, I like this ship very much. They made a mistake. It is, in fact, agile, and, it might not be something like a Cartoal, but it's better than a Gladius in that department, which makes it way better for me. I should also point out that my loadout here is not stock. I'm using 3 size 3 fixed because I have fun with the joystick, not because it's better than a mouse like some people seem to think. It's just more fun for me. So, anyway. Those 3 size 3 give it some punch, and it's agile and it's just plain fun. So this is, and plus it's under $100. So you could, if you weren't like a super Star Citizen aficionado ship collector, you could conceivably make the decision to upgrade to this now so you can have some fun before the game finally launches. and this is a fun fighter. Alright, next question. How does the Arrow compare to the Aegis Gladius and Anvil's own Hawk in the light fighter role? I don't think that's really fair. It definitely compares to the Gladius. It's very, very similar, with just a few minor tweaks that make it way more fun for me. But the Hawk, that's a different kind of ship altogether. That's apples and oranges. The Hawk is a bounty hunter ship with a space to contain a prisoner, an unwilling passenger, if you will. Or even if you won't, because you... Oh, jeez! What have I done? That guy came up quick. That's what I get for looking at the stats page while I'm flying. Yeah, it contains an unwilling passenger. It's not the same kind of ship. It's going to be bigger because it's got some amenities that this one does not have. This is focused on fighting. The Hawk is not. So, yeah, don't really compare it to that. But how does it compare to the Gladius? I think I already said this, but I'll reiterate for the question. It is more agile, with similar hard points, but faster in a straight... but the Gladius is faster in a straight line. So you don't get the same straight line speed, and I'm not sure about the acceleration. I haven't tested that. But yeah, that's if you want something a little faster in a straight line, get a Gladius. It's probably a better interceptor. Woo. So, also I think the Gladius has bigger missiles, but I don't really care about that. Next question. Which ships will the Arrow fit in? And how many could each ship carry? Ooh, look at the screen. Which ships could it fit in? Basically, and I'm not going to give you their answer. I'm going to give you the real answer. It will oops, I said a dirty word. It will fit in a ship. Sorry, guys. I hope you weren't listening in front of your kids. It will fit in a ship that it is designed to fit in. That's basically it. If the ship is supposed to carry other ships, this will fit. Like the Idris, the Polaris, the Javelin. These are all ships that are designed to have other ships, like fighters, inside of them. The Endeavor. I got a list over here. Let's look while we're flying towards these other jerk-offs. Idris, Kraken, Bengal, Javelin, Endeavor, 890 Jump, and Polaris are all designed to have other ships inside of them, so it will fit in those for sure. Some other ships, like, say, the Carrack, is not designed to have anything but the Pisces fit in it. In fact, I think they are intentionally changing the shape of these hangars and these vehicle bays on, like, the Valkyrie, so you can't fit. Like, oh, well, the Razor has fins that stick out farther on the bottom, so all we have to do is make the bottom of the Carrack hangar kick in a little bit, and you can't fit that in there. And, oh, we don't want the M50 in there, so we'll just lower the door a little bit so it's too short for the M50. I don't think that the Carrack hangar is specifically designed for the Pisces. I think it is specifically designed to keep other ships out because they don't want you putting them in there. So if anything fits in there, it will be a mistake. And I'm hoping for that mistake. Anyway, so yeah, that's which ships it'll fit in. It'll fit in ships that are supposed to house fighters. If you want to cram it into something like a Valkyrie, well, good luck. If it fits, then they made a mistake, and, you know, good on you. Or good for you. It's your lucky day. All right, next question. Shoot the Buccaneer first. Okay, next question. Is the Arrow tuned with the new flight model in mind? Yes, next question. Will the Arrow have storage space for personal items like a survival kit and a personal weapon? That's an interesting question because the answer was yes, and they actually intend to have every ship get at least... Oh, that's the... I gotta be careful. Have every ship have room for at least... Oh, holy crap, they're gonna wreck my face. Every ship have room for at least, like, a weapon and a survival kit. So... That's really neat. I like that a lot. I was hoping that we would get something like that, but this is the first time I've personally seen confirmation that we're going to be having survival kits and weapons in every ship they can fit one in. So yeah, you will be able to get... Bye-bye, engines. Aw, did I slow you down? You having trouble turning so I can shoot at your belly? Poor Constellation. Yeah, every ship should be able to have, like, a small survival kit and a personal weapon. And that's a good thing, especially for people who are concerned about, like, the Mustangs that don't have room for a box. That shouldn't be an issue in future iterations of the game. So you can look forward to that. Woo, goodbye. Oh, and I can repair. There we go. Oh, I'm getting shot. I'm getting shot. Who's shooting me? Sounds like a Buccaneer. All right, next question while I look for that Buccaneer. How do you plan to create a meaningful balance for light fighters considering there are now 9 ships in that class? That's an interesting question. And I think the real answer for that, no matter what they say, is define meaningful. Like, what is a meaningful balance? I would compare it more to something like a racing game. We'll use Mario Kart as an example. every cart in Mario Kart is like equally important because you could use any of them. But the way they balance something like Mario Kart is to have a spectrum. So this ship has better acceleration and top speed, but not as good as this one over here, which focuses purely on top speed, and that one over there focuses on... actually, at least in 64 version, there were there were carts that took less damage, or it was harder to damage them. So, yeah, some carts, might be tougher, some carts might be faster, but they all exist on a spectrum. So you can get anything you want. If you want something that's got a little bit of acceleration and a little bit of top speed and a little bit of toughness, you can get that. And that's sort of what they're doing with Star Citizen. So, is there going to be a huge difference between one ship and another? No, but you can sort of get customization just by going with a different manufacturer, and I think that's phenomenal. That's exactly why I'm glad that we have a Prowler and a Valkyrie. That's why I'm glad that we have an Arrow and a Gladius. There are minor variations because we have so many amazing ship assets. That's a really good thing. So, is it meaningful? Well, it creates a perceptible difference, and it's something that you want to consider, but it's not huge, and I think that's fantastic. Next question. What options will we see for the turret on the Arrow? Will there be options like a utility store-all? Okay, that's another good question. And I think the answer is, guys, this is not a Super Hornet. Only the Super Hornet is a Super... I should have hit him. What's up? Only a Super Hornet is a Super Hornet. And I think if the Super Hornet were created today, you wouldn't see the store-all box. That was early days, Wild West, and they were creating ships willy-nilly. Like, it could be anything because we didn't know what the game would be. And so they said, yeah, let's give it some storage. You want a fighter with some storage? Cool. I think if they made the Super Hornet today, it wouldn't have a store-all box because it's a dedicated fighter, and they don't want it to. Other things, like the Starfarer is another good example. That was a fairly early concept, and they decided that it should be able to do fuel, and it should be able to carry cargo. I'm not sure you'd get that sort of thing today. Something like the Carrack. And you can almost see it in their eyes when they talk about the Carrack in the Carrack videos, where they're like, oh yeah, I can do a little bit of everything, and well, we weren't really thinking early on with those internal designs. Now we're kind of stuck with it. I don't think they would do a store-all box today if the Super Hornet were a new thing. So no, you're not going to get a utility hardpoint on a weapons hardpoint now. And don't expect to see that in future ships. They may surprise me, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Oh, come on, I want that guy. There we go. Next question. Oh, wait, down the list. I'm going to die. I'm doing evasive maneuvers while I read. Next question. Oh, that one's about thrusters, and it's way too technical for me to do while I'm talking about this. We're going to skip it. Go read it if you really want to know. What kind of components can the Arrow use? Okay, have I survived while I was reading off the page? Yes, I have. What kind of components can it use? It comes stock with military components, but it can use a bunch of different components. So it's not so much about what components it comes stock with. It's about its ability to have other components. You can do stealth, you can do military, you can do civilian. It seems like the higher end components you can use, you can it's sort of backwards compatible with lower end components. So, yeah. You can use pretty much any components you want. And I want to blow this Cutlass up. Die, Cutlass, die. Alright, I'll go look at the next question. Can we blade the turret for point defense? That's a really cool question. I love that question because I'd never considered it. If you put a computer blade, and the way those are supposed to work, you're going to have like computer blade slots that let you add computer components to your various ships. So if you want something to be automated, you fill up a computer blade slot with a computer specifically for that purpose. So on the Anvil Arrow, can you make a point defense system out of the turret by installing a computer blade? And the answer was basically yes, but you're going to take up most of your computer component space to do that. And that's really cool because I've never considered it like a point defense system. What I really wanted out of the turret on the Hurricane was the ability to lock it forward and run a wire so that when I pull the trigger, the guns on top go boom. And they've said, no, you cannot do that. And I think that might be, come here, little bugger, I think that might be because if you could use the turrets on top of the Hurricane right now, Super Hornet owners would revolt because it would just obliterate them. It would frankly be unbalanced, and I think they're sort of waiting until they can say, oh, no, it's the It's the computer blade. That's what's doing it. Now, never mind if a Super Hornet gets a piece of the Anvil Hurricane, it's toast. Like, typically one-shot toast. And even with the turrets on top, it's going to take a couple of shots to kill a Super Hornet. So I think it is balanced, but people will pitch a fit, I guarantee it. Anyway, so yeah, can you make a point defense system? Yes, you kind of can. And that made me wonder about Phoenix owners, who are really excited about their point defense system. So if any turret could become a point defense system in practice, what good is their point defense system? And I think the way to do that is to just say, listen, we know now, when we said that, we didn't know what we were doing, and now everybody essentially can have a point defense system. So what we're doing is we're going to up the computer blade allotment for your ship. So your point defense system kind of comes for free because you got a fancy ship. I think that's the way to handle that, and I think people would be happy with that. And I think some other people, it would be like, did I really get extra cheese on my pizza when I ordered extra cheese? Or did they just call it extra cheese and still charge me the extra money? So I think you're going to get some of that no matter what. And we're just basically going to have to trust the developers to honor their word. And that's sometimes questionable, but typically they try to do that with ship designs. They really do. Yeah, laters. All right, last question. Is the very limited fuel capacity something actively being looked into, or is this the dev team's intent? So why does this light carrier-based fighter have a small fuel tank? Let me think. Why does the light, agile, carrier-based fighter have a small fuel tank? Maybe it's because it is a light, agile... Oh, I didn't blow him up! Oh, that was an LN, wasn't it? I thought it was a Buccaneer. Why is it a light, or why would a light, agile, carrier-based fighter have a huge fuel tank? Fuel is heavy. You got to be careful with that, and they do want them to be carrier-based. Now, this is not the same. I am on record as saying that I am irritated that they took fuel scoops out of the fighters. And I don't know if that's a decision that's going to stand. I think it may have been a mistake that they refused to admit. But it should be able to regenerate fuel. You should be able to slowly regenerate fuel, like maneuvering fuel, not quantum fuel. So if you get trapped, away from your carrier, you can eventually fly back like even cheaper ships. But does it need to have a big fuel tank? No, and I kind of think that it shouldn't, and that's sort of been something they've been saying for a long time. At least regarding, like, jump fuel, or now quantum fuel, they've said, well, we don't want them to be able to jump all over the galaxy, so they're going to have small quantum fuel tanks, or small jump fuel tanks. Ooh, that's a cutlass. Got to be careful. So, yeah, why does it have a small tank? Is that the intention of the developers? Absolutely it is, and I think that's the right choice. Now, if it doesn't have fuel intake, so that if you get stuck away from your carrier, you can slowly regenerate your fuel, I'm going to be disappointed. But I mean, not so disappointed. I mean, they gotta leave work for the Valkyries and the Starfarers, not the Valkyries, the Vultures and the Starfarers, right? Not Vulture. Daggone, there's so many stinking ships in this game now. What's that the little refueling ship called? I can't even remember it off the top of my head while I'm playing this game. So many stinking ships. Yeah, you got to leave work for the refueling ship. So, yeah, I guess if you can't regenerate fuel, it's not the end of the world. All right, that is it for the Anvil Arrow. I'm gonna do some final thoughts because I'm in the combat zone here, and I realize it's not as hairy as when you're in Battle Royale, but you can certainly get a feel for this in Pirate or Vandal Swarm. And this is a good feeling ship. If you're looking for a light fighter that's relatively agile and it's got a decent loadout so you can really do some damage even on big ships, go for it. It was an Anvil Arrow that wrecked me the other night in Battle Royale because it was just so hard to hit. This thing has such a tiny little profile and it's agile as all get out. And it's got a decent loadout, so he could, if he hit me in the right spot, blow me up in one shot with his little anvil. What is that glare? Blow me up in one shot with his little Anvil Arrow. So it's a lot of fun to fly if you're into agile, hard-hitting ships, and you're light in the pocketbook. Like if you think, well, I could spend $75 on a ship, but I don't want to spend $175. You can be competitive with this as it stands right now. So, yeah, I love this little Anvil Arrow. I'm not going to fly it much because I like the Buccaneer more, and I also prefer a Hurricane, but those also cost a lot more. So, yeah, if you want a low-end, decent fighter, you could certainly do worse than this. Go for it. And that's all we got today. Thank you all very much for watching. Please let me know if you hated this. Please let me know if you liked it and you'd rather have this than nothing in the future. I can make that happen. And I will see you next time.